Hello, in this video we're going to go over the data analysis type of question that shows up on the science portion of the ACT. This is a section, all in all, that's 35 minutes, 40 questions. I emphasize that because that means that you have 52 seconds per question, less than a minute per question. So our approach here is going to be very based on how to be as efficient as possible. This test format is mostly something that you see here on the left-hand side in regards to how the information is introduced to you, which is, tables, graphs, charts, etc., graphics that you need to interpret. And that's actually the emphasis of these parts of the test. It's not really how much you know about science. Knowing some basic vocabulary is very helpful in this situation, but as long as you can interpret these types of graphics, you should be able to get through most of these questions without a hitch. So let's jump to it. First and foremost, you want to start right at the questions. If you think about how little time we have, you recognize that if you try and read everything here, you're not going to even have enough time to really internalize it, understand it, and master it, and then answer your questions. You're going to be guided by these questions to where to go in the graphics, and you're going to see that there's some information here you simply just don't need to read. Number one, according to figure 2, which of the following minerals would most typically be found only in rocks of a medium grade? So I see here a key word here is only in rocks of a medium grade. So figure 2 is over here. That's where they want us to look. And I see that these are the rocks. That must be the rocks because they already tell us here that these are the grades, right? And I can just look at this graphic and I can see that this rock is for low grade. This one here is for high grade. And what they're asking me about are what's showing up only in medium grade. And when I look through our answer choices, you don't want to look at all of these rocks and see what matches. Let's start crossing off the wrong answers as we go. And I'm sorry for destroying these names. If you're a geologist, I'm probably saying these wrong. Sorry. A, muscovite. You can see that's in low grade and medium grade. That doesn't make sense, right? Because it shows up both here and here. Biotite. It does show up in medium grade, but it also shows up in low grade, almost a little bit in high grade, so that doesn't make sense. Kyanite, and then we see that here. Kyanite is strictly in medium grade, so that looks like a really good answer. Let's see if plagioclase is going to be somewhere else. No, this one stretches across all three. This is actually the complete opposite of what we're looking for. It's definitely not D, it's C. No reading anywhere else to answer that question. According to figure 1, facies G rock will most likely form under which of the following pressure and temperature conditions? So they're wanting us to analyze the G rock, which is here. I think you say facies. I'm going to just say facies. And I can already see the conditions here. So the depth that it's at, it maxes out about 40. The pressure, it maxes out around 10. And then the temperature is from 2 to 1,000. So I look here, a pressure of 3. That's up here. That's way too small. And then as I think about it, well, it starts at 10 and it only gets higher in this whole range here. It goes from 10 to 12 to 14. That leaves me with J. And that automatically crosses out all these other ones. Number 3, figure 1 indicates that as depth increases, pressure, well, there's two ways to think about this. If you know this off the top of your head, this is an obvious answer, but let's pretend we don't know that, right? We're seeing as depth goes down over here on the figure 1 as they're pointing us to, so this is as depth is increasing. Don't let the fact that it's going downwards confuse you. Understand that these values are actually increasing as you go down. What do we see about pressure, which is here on the left side, the corresponding side? Those values are also increasing, and we don't see that they decrease. They're not remaining the same. It increases, and decreases. We don't see that anywhere, right? It just continuously increases in these values. So that doesn't make sense in C. And that's also just a general principle. Like, feel free to kind of use the information you already know, that the deeper you get into the earth, the more pressure something has. Same thing with water. Number 4, according to figure 2, so back to here, the presence of which of the following minerals in a metamorphic rock would be least helpful in determining that rock's grade? And so this is kind of an abstract sounding question, but they're trying to see which of the following minerals in metamorphic rock would be least helpful in determining the rock grade. Well, what's rock grade? Well, we can see that that's this one here. And that brings us back to our first question. Notice how we saw if you see kyanite, what you realize is like, well, that means it has to be a medium grade rock. It has to be because it's the only place it goes. But what type of rock would be the least helpful for you figuring out which one of these it must belong to? Well, it's definitely that one that we were making fun of earlier here. Plagioclase, right? I'm sorry, I probably said it differently than I did the first time. It's in all three of them. So no matter when you find it, it could have been found in a low grade style of rock, medium grade, or high grade. So that obviously means that that must be our answer because it's across all three. And we move on to 5. Hornfels is a metamorphic rock formed when magma molten rock heats sedimentary rocks on Earth's surface. According to Figure 1, hornfels are most likely a member of which of the following facies? Well, the key word here is Earth's surface. Well, what's the depth on Earth's surface? It's going to be 0. And the only grade of rock that we see here is A. And that leaves us with A. Bam. So that's us using a little bit of science knowledge, really interpreting the graphs well, and recognizing that we didn't really have to read any of these. There could be situations where these paragraphs are helpful, but you don't want to read them first before you start looking into the graphics because it's very likely that you don't. But if you need to, there's no points taken against you for that. Just understand it takes a little bit more time. So try to be as efficient as possible. Best of luck, and we're going to move on now to the conflicting viewpoints.